Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Games Industry Executive Summary. This is Casey, and of course, with us, as usual, we have the dashing Dave Fear. How are you, Dave?
Well, I'm well. It's springtime here, so that's pretty pleasing.
Yes, we were talking about,
Yeah.
your background is tidied up. You have some guests coming in.
Yeah, we're moving on with life, one step at a time, best we can.
Yeah, and you have an awesome jacket on as well. Love it.
Thank you.
Is that a Levi's or what is it?
I think it's a Wrangler. Sort of one of the other heritage brands. Not quite Levi's, but a heritage brand. I believe it was
looks good
a
on you.
thrift store purchase. This one.
It looks good on you.
Thank you.
And then, of course, the analyst, Manu Rosier. Welcome on board.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Also springtime here.
Also springtime.
Yeah. 15 degrees. Quite nice. Sunny.
And you've also done some other types of cleaning. You've changed some of the backgrounds in your Lego collection and
Yes.
added any new Legos we should know about that you've been building. Oh, what's that? That's an F1 Red Bull.
Yeah.
Who makes that car? Is it called the Red Bull?
The Lego company.
The Lego.
I would love to see Lego actually field an F1 car made of Legos.
It's so the engine is an Honda engine, and the body is from Red Bull, which is a manufacturer of F1 cars. It doesn't build any other cars than that, just F1.
So Red Bull has a separate team that actually makes cars, but they only make the F1.
Yeah, and I think they prepare also some other vehicles. Yeah.
But the engine is Honda. I did not know Honda was dealing in that type of industry.
You always have a combination, except if you are Mercedes, then you build your car and you have your engine, and Ferrari. Other than that, like McLaren, they are building the cars, but they also have road cars, and they have a Mercedes engine, etc., etc.
Interesting.
I build neither my car nor my engine.
Are you working on any Legos, Dave?
Not at the moment, no. I had to do some emergency repairs on the Wicked dorm set yesterday, so that was actually an interesting challenge because you're not moving with the instructions, right? You're just trying to get it back together. But aside from that, I don't have any current projects.
When you say dorm set, is that
It's sort of set up like a jewelry box, and it opens up to be Glenda and Elphaba's dorms.
Okay, but this has nothing to do with Harry Potter or
no, Wicked.
Wicked?
Yes.
What's that?
It's a Disney movie.
Yeah, it's a movie about the Wicked Witch of the West, based on a novel from the 60s, I believe. Based on a musical, based on a novel, based on another novel.
Dave, now that I'm hearing you a bit more and more as we're doing this podcast, you
are
on the low side.
I'm on the low side. I may have stopped.
I think we need to pump you up.
Stop biologically increasing my volume, so I'll do it electronically instead.
Please do. Okay, gentlemen, you have something you want to share with us, Manu. I'll pull it up, and then we can talk about it. Some really good stuff from our friends at Newzoo. The top PC and console games by monthly active users and revenue in February 2025. Looking at
there's more rivals. What do you know?
Yeah, I mean, usually the top 10 by active user doesn't change that much. In this case, there was an increase for GTA 5 because they released a patch. I think some kind of next-gen patch, which also caused some trouble. And then when you look at the top games by revenue, you have 3 new entrants. You have Monster Hunter Wilds, which is number 3, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Civilization 7 also. So yeah, for once there has been some changes. Usually it's always the same usual suspect.
I'm glad to see Civ 7 seems to be doing pretty well, well enough. I know they had some UI controversies. So, but
yeah,
we always want them to be trucking along. I've been playing Kingdom Come too. Super interesting game.
I will have to let you for a few minutes if it's okay.
You have a package, if
Yes,
I understand correctly.
coming back.
Okay. we're gonna go. Manu's gonna go and get his package. Okay. We're back in business, everybody.
Okay, here we are.
Thank you for coming back, and thank you for fixing your stuffs, Dave.
You're welcome.
Manu, I was just asking you about the top PC and console game, the monthly active users revenue, and you were explaining why there's a split. Can you kind of explain that again?
A split, sorry.
Why we're looking at top games by monthly active users separately from the top games by revenue? You were mentioning like the older games had more a bigger audience.
I mean they are just two different metrics, and monthly active user will always show you mostly the traditional games that have been around for a while. So I think what's remarkable is that Marvel Rivals is now part of that top 10 after being released in December. But if you want to look at new games and new premium games, that's in the top games by revenue that you have to look at, and this is where you're gonna see the new entry and the launches.
If I go to Steam, and I'm gonna share my screen again. Is there anything that sticks out here on the top 10, top 20 this week, or is it like it feels more of the same in the top 20? Would you say that?
I think Apex Legends. We are in March, so they released recently the new season. I mean, actually, it was in February, but it's usually the most popular season of the year because the anniversary season. So that's why also Apex is now back solidly in the top 10. Okay. And then you can see on number 10 GTA 5 and enhanced version, and then you have the legacy one. So they now have two SKU there.
Oh, really? Let me see. So number 10 is the enhanced version of GTA 5, and there's another one that we should be looking at. Can those players not play together, or they just count them as separate SKUs because you started a different build, so to say?
I assume it's a different one. Otherwise, it would be the same line. In the same way, there is only one line for Call of Duty. Okay. And no, nothing else. I think last time we checked also Delta Force.
Helldivers showing some staying power. Yeah, that's cool.
Sorry, give me a second here. Yeah, I think so. They are doing a lot of cool stuff over there. It seems like that is resonating with the audience. That's terrific.
And Monster Hunter Wilds is slowing down. Is it the top? But not that fast. Not too fast. I mean, we are still 30 to 40% of the launch numbers after 3 weeks. So it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like, I'm not sure about the older ones. Like, do people usually with a Monster Hunter game, do they usually like get their fill after a month or so and then they move on, or what's your?
I think most of the players have probably most of the players that jumped in, the core fans have finished the main game, so they might be now in the end game part of it. But I don't know in detail what is the live service plan, so we just have to see. But it's still top 4 behind the 3 biggest games, so it's fine. And when you look at the 24-hour peak, if you sort by peak, you have Repo being 6. Yesterday, my son talked about this game for the first time. It means that it's reaching layers of players. So it's kind of a co-op scary game. Unlike co-op horror games with up to 6 players, you have to locate objects, and then you get the money, and with the money you can move to the next room, I believe, or to the next level. And it's very popular on Steam. It's another of these hype game that works well with streamers and with probably a younger audience.
Dave, any comments from you on the top 10, 20 games that we saw on the Steam charts?
No, this is staying stable enough, which is interesting to see, considering slight churn elsewhere. But yeah, I don't. I think my comments are basically the same as they may have been last week. So I'll leave them.
Okay, gentlemen. Then I'll move over to the newsletter, and we have some really cool items here today. The number one item on the highlights: PC gamers spend 92% of their time on older games. This is the writer here. And there are apparently 908 million of us now.
Good for us. What is their definition of older games?
That is a good one. Feels like this.
More than 1 year.
More than 1 year. So yeah, definitely. Oh, Ben
So
Porter.
8%. So this is just review of the PC and console report that we will discuss in a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's going to be published early April. It's a sneak peek. And I just put it there so for people to be aware of what's coming. But I think they released a few numbers from the report. So 92% of the playtime on PC is spent on more than 1 year old games. And, yeah, that's I think it's similar to last year.
I mean, I also I wonder what that number will look like before and after Monster Hunter, which I feel like is one of the only ones recently that's really cracked a huge player count in that way.
Yeah, but one thing you will also see in the report is when you count the actual number of games players played during a year, it's kind of also going down. So instead of playing maybe 15 games a year before, you might be only playing 10 games per year right now. So there is really this consolidated playtime and purchase through the industry, because if you keep playing these live service titles, you might not have the interest to buy a new game, just as simple as that. And I have to say personally, and I don't know if it's me or if it's my experience or my background or my age, I think twice or three times probably before buying a new game, because I have such a backlog, because I have this live service game where I can always come back. And unless I'm really sure I can spend enough time on these games, I don't even buy them. I have games like Stalker 2. I have the other is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I see no urge to buy them now for $60 or $70. And also because these games are not live service, are not multiplayer, so you can just play them whenever you want, and I'll probably wait for the first promotion before buying them. And I think a lot of people are probably in the same train. And the counter example is Marvel Rivals, because it's a multiplayer game. It's free to play, so there's no reason to wait before jumping in. And also Monster Hunter, which is kind of more a co-op multiplayer game. And we see, so maybe there is a change of behavior, but we can see clearly that players are playing more time in less games. That's kind of the trend. Which means that when you release a new game, the actual share of playtime and of players that you can reach is very small, because all the rest of the time, 90% of the time, is spent on older game, and you are a new game, so you compete against other new game, and in some case you can potentially stretch the market and increase this 8%, because as we are saying, because of Monster Hunter, for example, you will see maybe an increase of the playtime thanks to that one. But other than that, I think the competition is very fierce, because whatever the total size of the market is, there is a limited opportunity for new games to go through and to reach the players.
So if you recall, a couple months ago, I was very into dedicating my full time to finishing Elden Ring. And refusing to play anything else. I feel like there is some resonating thoughts there.
I feel like that's basically how people operate now. Like even I was thinking about the buying new games. Like I used to always buy Assassin's Creed and then I'd play it and then do something else. But like I haven't bought Shadows, and I don't think I'm gonna. Didn't buy Mirage. And like the idea of finding 30 hours, whatever it is, to make it through one of those things, it's not going to happen. And from, I'm playing Kingdom Come, which is a big game, but I have there's professional interest there because they're doing some interesting stuff.
Mhm.
But I know an Assassin's Creed game is going to be like,
Maybe games should be shorter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Then cheaper.
Yeah.
Not cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, keep the quality, but increase the value of the minutes.
Quality, value. These are very difficult terms.
Mhm.
So, I wonder if there's somebody should put up a chart of game, like every single minute in a game, and the value of that minute versus another game. So if you play Vampire Survivors, we talked about that game a lot of times before. Like the value of each minute I have fun, versus like what you talked about, Dave, like an Assassin's Creed or any other type of game that requires too much from you to reach the fun moments. Maybe that should be a new.
I think if you can manage to make that work, then you would become like a legendary economic philosopher. But aside from that, I think it's pretty difficult.
You just assume you just calculate the average playtime, and then you multiply with the ratio of the Metacritic score and the user review, and then the price, and you can come with the number.
And then you wind up with an insane, useless number.
So this is minute, I don't know, what are we on? Minute 20 or whatever. Put your notes here. I need to crack this. I feel like this is a challenge.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We will, when you have finally solved the problem of calculating utility of entertainment, then we will look back at this moment when the world changed. This is when you decided to do it.
Let's do it. I would love to know, though, these 908 million of us. So what's the overlap with console, if at all?
I mean, definitely. I mean, I'm assuming all three of us overlap with console, so there's at least 3.
Thank you, Dave. So, okay, and more like it used to be a lot more separated. Now things are a bit muddy, and we obviously last week we spoke about Xbox. Maybe abandoning completely, the idea of just being on a single device, right? You want to be across all devices. But would you if you would take a big guess, or maybe if you already have numbers that you're aware of, what is the ratio or overlap? Is it 30%, 20%, less, more?
I don't even have a number to share, and I wouldn't try to guess it neither.
Yeah, that's well, and also because you've got China entering the chat, which is going to have a much lower overlap than the West. And so I'm sure there's a significant overlap, but I think also that overlap is going to shrink.
I do want to point this out, which is really important in this specific equation, because if I would ever go to Steam, in my specific case, now I'm not representing everybody, obviously, but I would always go to Steam to play Counter-Strike. That's where I find Counter-Strike, which is the #1 most played game on the platform. But I would not, buy a Monster Hunter as an example on Steam. I would play it on my console. That's why I'm trying to figure out the overlap of that audience and if it matters at all. But okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the next item, which is Assassin's Creed. So, Assassin's Creed creator Ubisoft said to seek gaming backers. What does this even mean?
So it's not Assassin's Creed, it's Ubisoft. And there are rumors that they are trying to fund their IPs or sell the right to some of their IPs to get cash.
Oh, so that is actually happening. I cannot view
there are rumors, they've been rumors for the last 2 years about Ubisoft. So,
well, and I feel like those rumors are going to come to a head once we see what happens with Shadows, basically. So much that's okay, let's see what happens with Shadows, and now that time has come.
So the time is here. Are there any valuable IPs that Ubisoft has?
Just Dance, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs. I mean, you can consider many of them. The Division, whoever wants
Rabbids.
a co-op live service game, the Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, I'm not saying they
good
would
one.
sell everything. Yes, they have a lot of IPs, but
Yeah.
probably don't have enough
Prince of Persia.
studios. Yeah, for that.
Yeah, I mean, Assassin's Creed is one of the biggest, like, active ones, but I don't know. They can get some money out of Beyond Good and Earth, you know,
Yeah,
some of these dormant ones.
Yeah.
I mean, the last Prince of Persia did really well in terms of gameplay reception, right?
Yeah, it did not sell well though.
Yeah, but it's a small isometric game. Huh?
Yeah.
It's more like Hades than anything else, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was a cool game, definitely. But
they have Far Cry, they have Avatar. I mean, Avatar is not really them. They have the Anno franchise. They have the Crew.
Really good one.
Okay. They have Might and Magic.
There is a lot of value there, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm gonna look forward to seeing who does what and what kind of games we can see in the near future. I'll move over to the news then. PlayStation has formed a new studio. Dark Outlaw Games will Call of Duty Zombies lead Jason Blundell. So I'm confused about two things. One is they recently closed Concord.
Yeah.
The studio behind it. And here we are, a couple weeks later, we have a new studio being formed. But is there anything special or specific about the studio that you think will give them an edge, or something we need to know about?
No, and there was also this Deviation game studio that was basically set up by the same person, and they never released any game. And now it's called Dark Outlaw. It's not really Deviation game, so something must have happened there. But yeah, I think it's a bit interesting to see a new studio being opened after closing so many.
But is this a fully owned studio by Sony, or is this like a third party? Okay, it is. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you know, a new studio has not yet failed, so that's exciting. Basically, I think that's where that's at. Is like there's more hope when it comes to opening a new studio than when it comes to like turning around an extant one that is settled with Concord or something like that.
Fair enough.
But it also means we are years and years away from any type of game coming from that studio.
PlayStation 6 confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I mean, you know, I used to buy every console when I was reporting on them, and like the economics of it made sense, right? I would make more money running it than I would buying it. But man, the idea now of buying a PlayStation 6 seems so distant. Like, why would I do that?
And also the price point for that thing is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
The PS5 Pro is like $899, something, I think, right? Would that be accurate?
$899, no.
Or $799.
No. Yeah. So in euro, $799.
$799. Yeah, there you go. Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the next item, which is Star Wars Hunters Shutdown confirmed. I never knew there was something called Star Wars Hunters. Please tell us what.
It's a mobile game. It's a free-to-play arena battler from.
Okay, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they ever release it or show it in any shape or form, or?
Yeah. It was just a game released some time ago. Absolutely.
Oh, I did not know that. But this is mobile only. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think they had just launched it on as a mobile game on PC. But yeah, it's closing.
Ooh, the Star Wars IP. It's it's
always challenging.
It's struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they had Jedi Survivor recently, but it's always been a lot. It's always been a much tougher nut to crack than I think people think of it.
Yeah.
Do we foresee? I assume the Marvel, like the Marvel universe, is really big, so you don't need to necessarily pull from other IPs. But do you see that game as getting characters from other IPs?
Marvel Rivals?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah. I would love to see, in some capacity, Star Wars vs. Marvel. I think that would do well.
Yeah.
I mean, they did do Capcom versus Marvel.
Yeah, that's what made me think about it.
Yeah.
I
Those
was
were
trying to
really
remember who it
amazing.
was. And, like, yeah, both owned by Disney. Should be possible, right? So,
Yeah.
let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, you heard it here first. Star Wars is joining Marvel rivals.
Yeah.
Another news we broke out today.
Hmm.
Okay. Next item on the list: Life is Strange double exposure sales were a large loss for Square Enix. I would love to, if somebody can explain, what is Life is Strange? What type of game is that?
It's like a narrative game, basically.
Yeah.
Where
Story-driven.
where the primary gameplay is like selecting dialogue and then sometimes spent like exploring a relatively constrained space and finding some clues or something like that. I only played the first two. First one was great, really good. I hear that fans of the first one, of which I would obviously count myself one of, did not like this one, though I did not play this one, nor was I entirely aware of its existence.
I've only followed the amount of games they put out, which is very surprising because I've never touched those games. But I would love to hear. So Manu, so what we're saying here is that the last game did not meet expectations. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's not from Dontnod. And Dontnod is the people that
Yeah.
did it.
I think he's just sad that the Life is Strange franchise didn't really go where he thought it was going to.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But maybe they've also they came to the end of the formula. You can only do so much with that formula, probably, and without significant change in gameplay or adding some different element.
Or a
Maybe
super compelling
there-
story, right? Or
Yeah.
or a story that really demands attention, and
Yeah.
that's either going to do it or not.
Mhm.
Fair enough. I'll move over to the next item then, my friends, which is a bit surprising to me. Or not necessarily surprising, but I did not know this was happening. But Disco Elysium's new mobile port is intended to captivate the TikTok user for some reason. So, is that a marketing stunt or strategy, or what's going on here?
Well, that game, the provenance of that game is like totally whacked right now, right? The original people are not involved with it, and like
They
they're
actually
scattered
split
toward
now,
the-
or
yeah, and like they are pretty angry at the people who believe,
Okay.
Who own the current rights, and so yeah, hard to know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I think it's more of a narrative exploration game with a lot of dialogue. So I think it could be a good fit for it's point and click. I think basically, so it could work well on mobile if they manage to have the interface right and the level of detail that fits into a smaller screen, and the price also.
Yeah, theoretically it could work, but I don't know what they mean about TikTok at all.
I mean, interesting.
I mean, I guess like weird stuff happens in Disco Elysium. Maybe that's what they mean. Like
I'm not sure if I mentioned this before. I mean, this is the game that put me to sleep the most in my life. I think maybe over 10 times. Really, I'm not kidding.
interesting.
I do want to finish it one day.
I mean, it's a cool ass game, but it doesn't have like a strong dopamine pull to it.
It has a.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I still listen to the soundtrack in my car. It's incredible.
Cool. I should pay more attention to that.
Yeah.
I feel like for me that was like one of the first it's like a true role playing game, right? Like normally when I play the thing that you would call an RPG, I do it to like maximize my capabilities as a character. And that one I was like, you can't maximize your capabilities. All you can do is like choose what kind of weirdo you're going to be and commit to it.
Dave, I was going to say it did maximize melatonin.
Sure. I mean, if it works, then I think it could make a whole lot more money than any video game.
Okay. I'll move over to the trends. Baldur's Gate 3 director says single-player games are not dead. They just have to be good. I mean, who claimed that single-player games are dead?
People say that every once in a while, you know.
Yeah.
That's stupid. But let's
Well,
hear.
there was EA said that a long time ago that the future
Yeah.
was more into connected experience, and I believe Andrew Wilson also said that Dragon Age Belgard didn't work well because there was not enough live service stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, every time Mr. Vink comes, it's always fun to read because he's very he's very opinionated.
Yeah, and he owns it like that he owns that company. He can say what he wants.
And he released one of the best games in recent years. So
Yeah.
it's a bit like Joseph Fares. These people, they can say what they want because they've proven they were right in what they did. So, but he has no filter, which is what we like also.
I love it. Okay, that's awesome.
And
there are.
I would say very often when a game is not working, you're trying to find excuses in your audience or in the taste of your audience why sometimes your game is just not good enough. And if your game is not good enough, it's your responsibility as a publisher or as a developer. But if the audience is not there and you kind of put that on the audience, it's kind of not your fault. So, yes, I did a good game, but I didn't find my audience. It's different than I did an average game and the audience, it didn't resonate to the audience because the game was average.
Or I've been working on a franchise for a long time, and there are expectations, and I just changed things to a certain degree that it's not resonating, or it's too late. The audience has moved on with their lives.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about. I've been thinking a lot, and I'm in my feed on YouTube. I've been getting a lot of Metal Gear stuff. I love Metal Gear. You can see I have a Solid Snake right there. And I did pre-order the new one, but I'm like, I wonder, like, what? Well, the new one, the remake of the third one.
Okay.
Yeah, Snake Eater. But I'm asking myself, like, because I've seen this in my feed. I'm not sure if it's related to the release of Snake Eater, but I'm just asking myself, like, do I care about this type of game anymore? I will for sure play it, but it makes you wonder.
I definitely care way less than I used to.
Is there anything that comes to mind on why specifically?
It's just hard for me to carve out the mental space to become committed to a new story. I need a much stronger mechanical loop to get me into a thing like that. Like I think about games recently, like Dredge or Dave the Diver. They do like cool narrative stuff, but they get you in with mechanics.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay. I guess what you're trying to say is I want to play a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to watch a movie.
That's why I was playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. My son was sitting on my lap. And it's fun because it's a really mechanically interesting game, but it's also, a lot of it's just a really straight ahead, traditionally delivered narrative game. So he's sitting on my lap and he goes, "This is show." I was like, "No, it's a game." He says, "It's a show."
Okay. Next item on the trends: Monster Hunter Wilds PC sales show that console dominance is slipping fast. So this goes back to what we were talking. That's why again, that overlap and the console audience and etc. But what can we learn about this item, my friends?
I think it's interesting because initially Monster Hunter is more of a console license, console franchise. The previous big the Monster Hunter World was console first and then released on PC, I think, after 1 year. Got a lot of traction there. This is for US only, just to be clear. So it's not like it's the Chinese player story. It's just the US, which is also historically more of a console market than a PC market. And also the PC version of Monster Hunter Wilds was a bit broken. So there are many reasons for this not to happen, and still this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be interesting to see if we see that trend continuing. It's, of course, for this game, it's additive players because it's just beating the record of the previous games. So it's incremental numbers, but we will have to see for other titles if there is actually a cannibalization between console and PC. But in this case, it's just incremental players, and most of them are coming from PC.
I mean, it does feel like, as part of the trend, like, the long-term endpoint, or the long-term, what do you want to call it? Final destination will be that there are no platforms anymore. So you can't play everything everywhere.
There are devices, but there is potentially one ecosystem. Or maybe you have different ecosystem on the same device. I think it's clear that Xbox and Microsoft Windows will merge at some point. They will share the same store. Your experience will probably be the same. Yeah, but a bit like Steam is doing with the Steam OS on the Steam Deck. So you would have that version on a portable or on a living room type of box for Xbox. But Sony is different.
If I
Sony
like
is
stuff, I'd
different.
make a Steam box. Make a Steam box.
Mm. Yeah.
You know how to make hardware, and like the moment at which the stores merge, it's going to be a lot harder to do anything. It has to happen, but also like no, like I get games for free with your Game Pass on the Microsoft Store, and I still don't want to use it.
Yeah. I think that there you have a device where you can play Steam games and Xbox games, and it's not a computer, or it's kind of the experience is merged. If you have like a living room box where you can play Steam games and at the same time play the Xbox games, or you have like a Steam Deck where you can play your Game Pass title, I think that's gonna be the end of it somehow.
Yeah.
Interesting note here. I mean, is that if that happens, then no more porting for devs. They don't need to care about multiple platforms now. They can just develop and make their best game for that single platform. Or am I? No, that's not correct.
Well,
because you have
making for PC is already like making for a functionally infinite number of platforms. So like it's still kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The hardware, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't like. Do you see that? If it's Sony or Xbox, will they really let go of ownership over the audience and then also a 30% cut?
It's not a question of whether they'll want to, but at a certain point they may have to.
Not Sony. So Sony cannot. Sony, the business model of Sony cannot survive without that, because unless they just become a giant publisher, but they would publish games that are not even exclusive anymore if they are available everywhere on day one. So I don't see that happening for Sony anytime soon. But for Xbox, they don't have a lot to lose at this point.
And I would really wonder if obviously the mega hits like Last of Us Part 2 or whatever, those are still doing well, but I would wonder if like a God of War, Ragnarok, or like a Horizon Forbidden West, if those games would be profitable if they lost 30%.
Yeah.
That's a good point. First party. Okay, I'll move over to the next item, which is, after 25 years of The Sims, could Inzui be about to steal its crown? And Inzui is a Sims-like game. I think it's Korean.
Everything, it's a crafting game. Everything I've seen, like, look at that. That's nothing. That's boring.
I mean, we spoke about the character creator in Monster Hunters is amazing. This one seems to be taking it to the next level.
But like that's like a realism thing. This is a game based on realism, and I think this is what a lot of Sims competitors, from what I saw of Life by You, there's indication of that as well. Is they're trying to make a life simulator, and The Sims is not a life simulator; it's Dollhouse. And like it's silly and weird, and Sims are not people; they're Sims. And that really matters, because like if you're gonna put someone in the pool and then take away the ladder until they drown, like it's kind of fun to do that with a sim, but you don't really want to do that to a person.
And the other challenge is the PC specs, the min specs. They are nowhere near Sims. You can play that on any laptop, any work laptop, any computer. While in this case, I think they require RTX 2000 to play, so it will limit the audience. It will be difficult for the current Sims audience to migrate to that game just because they don't have the hardware to play it. And it's true that it's more realistic, much more realistic visually. Will that work? I think when I see the character in the street, I want to walk in that street like I would walk in GTA, rather than control Sims and looking at what they are doing.
I mean, are they targeting the same audience? Is that what they're doing?
It's Life Simulator versus Life Simulator. So they are certainly targeting a share of the Sims audience. But they might also be targeting the people that play House Flipper or that play other games of management. Maybe people that play City Skyline. Who knows? I don't know what's the level of detail. Can you just do the inside? There's a...
I just feel like the issue is that the Sims 4 people are playing Sims 4. So you have a huge mountain to climb right there. Mm-hmm. And they've been pretty clear that they want that they want a thing that is not this.
Yeah, in the same way that you can consider launching a soccer game which has no license, no league, no players, but it's just fun. Yes, there will be an overlap of the audience, but you can only get so many soccer fans without the leagues and the players.
Yeah, the one I'm most interested in is Paralives. Paralives is like much more of like an indie project. It doesn't have a major company behind it, but it's got a good style, and it looks like it has a much stronger sense of itself.
I think you will have to be very patient for that one. When you see that even Live by You has been cancelled almost at the last minute, I think everybody acknowledged that you have to find the audience and you have to come with something. You are competing against 25 years of Sims.
Yeah, 25 years of The Sims and like 10 years of The Sims 4. And like I don't know how much money I've spent on The Sims 4, but I'm not giving up my horses and my charming mid-century furniture.
So the question is, where does the innovation come from? And some people consider that visual innovation or visual upgrade is one way to differentiate from The Sims. But other than that, you have to come with something better or deeper when it comes to the gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, with The Sims, I feel like there's a lot of things that people want. Like they want a wide open neighborhood. They don't want the loading screens in between work and home. They want more people to sort of be able to interact on the same map without being divided. But like that's really clear. And I think people would respond well to something like that, but you still have that mountain to climb. And The Sims 4, just as a platform, cannot support that because it was not built with that in mind.
And once the Sim get the marketplace where content creator can actually create assets and sell them to other players. And when they get this multiplayer element where you can probably interact between your Sims with other people's Sims, then I think they have everything. They cover everything. Yeah. And it will be even more difficult to compete with that.
And people have responded well to at least the concepts behind some of their recent expansions. So I guess when I say that they're trying to wide open neighborhood, like EA is like doing a good job of trying to make that happen within the constraints of so their most recent one, you can run a business out of your house. And so what that means is like also if you have a really big lot, then you can put the business in front and you can put the house behind, and you're starting to sort of, and then maybe elsewhere you could like have a different part of it that you rent out to people. So you're starting to be able to approximate this idea of a lot that has more stuff going on than merely being one thing or another. And that's approaching that idea that people want.
Thank you for that analysis, gentlemen. By the way, I was sharing some of the footage from Paralives. It looks amazing. It gives me a lot of Animal Crossing type vibes for whatever reason, which is a good thing. Okay, gentlemen, we'll move over to the next item. Ubisoft reportedly implements anti-harassment plan for Assassin's Creed Shadows devs. And if I recall correctly, because I think I read this one, if I recall correctly, they are encouraging developers not to show that they worked on the game or something similar. Would that be correct to say?
Or probably not to interact on social media. Yeah. I find that crazy. Why all this hate towards Ubisoft right now? For any reason, all the time. It seems to be the trend. Yes, they make mistakes, but they are not the only one making mistakes. But they just got the special treatment. This is really how it feels, and it's really not great for for the image of players. If there is, of course, it's a really small share of the players that are very toxic online, but as a medium, as an entertainment activity, it's kind of sad to see that they have to take this kind of measures.
Mm-hmm.
And you go on Reddit, there is any single detail that seems to be not accurate when it comes to the new game about Japan culture, Japan history. I think we will have to monitor the attitude of Ubisoft when they are proven wrong. I think it will be very important that they own any mistake they might have done in the authenticity of the game.
Yeah.
But there is a big risk. There is a big PR risk here. It's not like you're crazy creating a fantasy world where you basically set the rules. Here, one of your selling points is the authenticity. So you better be authentic. That's the challenge.
I mean, I remember from back in the old days when a lot of publishers start to implement online requirements, like for single player games, and that blew up as well. And some companies took flack. Obviously, EA as an example. And famously, if you remember,
to go close the fridge. I'll be back.
Go for it. Go close the fridge. But I was going to mention it was either not The Sims, but SimCity was first claimed you cannot play it offline. There's technologies and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then somebody cracked it, and then and of course all hell.
Whole story. You can in recent time you had this whole problem with Helldivers 2 requiring a PSN account after launch. I mean, this creates a lot of issue. You usually, unless if you're a publisher or a studio, unless there is a massive benefit in continuing in a specific direction while you have player backlash, you also have to reconsider your options.
Yeah, I mean that specific example is a good example that was managed very quickly, got it out of the way, players moved on, now they're happy and enjoy the game. Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the next item, which is Saber Interactive CEO says Saints Row had to die because the games were too expensive, and then, quote, the days of throwing money at games other than the GTAs of the world is over. What is he talking about? Or is it a she? I forgot.
I think it's a post-mortem of the release of Saints Row remake. There was a remake a few months, like 2 or 3 years ago, which wasn't great. And it's just a testimony. I think it's interesting to have information from the inside of they got a lot of money, but there was no clear purpose. They were unsure what they had to achieve, and probably yes, I have to agree that there will be less money available for people that don't really know where they are going, or that don't have a very clear plan, a clear audience, clear features. So I think we've seen that recently with some studio closing after a few years of pre-development, that they don't really even release a game because at some point someone cuts the money flow, and I think we are in this environment now.
Saints Row is an interesting example, I think, because you can see both sides of that coin. Like, it's too bad that people aren't experimenting on single player games and why things like GTA are so dominant. And on the other side, it's kind of surprising that Saints Row made it as long as it did without ever having a real clear sense of itself or a really good argument for existing,
But I think there is still a massive people that are ready to invest in video games. I don't really think they stop. It's just the risk premium has increased significantly.
Yeah.
The probability of success is going down very quickly, which means that maybe it's not a chance 1 out of 100. It's maybe one out of 1,000 chance of success. So when the probability of success are going down, either you invest less, or you make less bets, or you expect to be sure that it's going to be the probability of success is higher once you invest the money.
And one thing that stuck out to me here specifically is him talking about they didn't know what they were building, they didn't have a real direction, and I just couldn't help, when I was reading that, I just couldn't help but think about both if his name is it Sven Vinke, and obviously Joseph Fares. These people who are the visionary, or if we want to talk about one of the biggest ones, obviously Kojima, etc. These people who know exactly what they want to build, and they're doing it because not money. Are we seeing a bit of that come back?
Yeah, I think we're seeing, it's not that we're seeing it come back, is that we're seeing more of a spotlight on that because it's some of the only things that are working, you know?
That's a really good point. Okay, gentlemen, we have 2 rumors. The first one, PlayStation logo on Starfield website ignites PS5 launch speculation.
Yeah, I think this is more, we know it's coming. It's just another sign that it could be announced very soon.
If I remember correctly, this game didn't do well, or did it? And I just missed that.
It's difficult to assess.
Yeah. It's
Come
really,
again,
sorry, we keep starting. Go, Manu. I'll be quiet.
No, I mean, how can you base on what metric can you base the performance of that title? Because it was in the Game Pass, so it means that the performance on PC on Steam was decent, even with this cannibalization. But yeah, we don't hear that much about Starfield anymore. There has not been massive DLC. There doesn't seem to be massive engagement in that game, and I think the expectations were so high for a RPG, science fiction RPG from Bethesda that they didn't meet the expectations of the player, most probably.
Yeah, I think that, the metrics are really hard to come by in a Game Pass world, but we do have this kind of metricless, emotional way of measuring it, which we know that it's not Fallout 4. Certainly.
Yeah, it's not a 20 million game.
Yeah.
20 million unit game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, estimations now, looking at SteamDB again, it seems like it's around the 4 million mark on PC. Or on Steam specifically. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is probably not near enough.
I just can't believe they saw what people liked about their previous games and said we just need a lot more loading screens here. Like we need a broken world with no continuity in it.
I think Bethesda is still not in the next gen mindset, new gen or whatever. It's still the same formula, the same engine for so many years, with slight improvement. But there has not been like a step up in their game, whether it's gameplay, whether it's a player,
it wasn't exciting.
Quality of life improvement, inventory management. This is still very close to what was Fallout 10 or 20 years ago.
And now we've seen Kingdom Come, which got a lot of problems, but it's clear that they are taking this concept and doing something with it, which Bethesda's just not doing. I haven't played Viability, so I want to now because I'm curious to see who's doing what here.
Okay. Next item on the rumors then. Devs revealed scrap plans for a connected Marvel gaming universe, MGU, similar to the MCU. I mean, by the way, before I go into the MGU, is the MCU dead now?
It's not dead, it's just not doing great.
There's a new wave coming.
There's a new wave coming.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like the old wave, except, less popular.
And with Robert Downey Jr. is not Iron Man anymore, he's Dr. Doom.
Yeah. I mean, I think getting Robert Downey Jr. was definitely like a break glass kind of moment for them. They were like, well, people like this guy. Let's get him back in here.
Yeah. Yes, somehow. Yeah. I think you have what is it? There are a few games coming. They just released the Captain America, but it's not with the same actor.
Yeah, and it's a different character. It's Anthony Mackie, right? He's Captain America now, I think. Yeah.
And you have Thunderbolt, which is the equivalent of a Suicide Squad, but for Marvel. And then you have the Fantastic Four remake number 3, I think, if not more.
Is that also going to feature the?
I mean, do you guys know like the surefire route to Fantastic Four success that Reddit has loved forever, but which will never happen? which is to make the Fantastic Four with the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
With the cast of what? Sorry.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
Like that would kill.
Yeah, here you have Pedro Pascal, but
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal is in everything, so.
Yeah, you can't market Pedro Pascal because you just assume he's in the movie you're going to go see.
Yes.
Is he going to play the stretchy guy?
No, the scientific guy. Yes, so
yeah, Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we talk about the MGU, do you think there was ever plans for that type of thing?
No, I mean, this is a rumor. That's why it's in a rumor, and you know that there are 2 games coming from EA. You have Iron Man, and you have Black Panther.
Wolverine.
Black Panther.
There's a Black Panther game as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's good. That's Insomniac, right?
No. Black Panther is EA.
Oh, okay.
Wolverine
is Insomniac. That's right.
Yeah, Wolverine is Insomniac, and then you have another Captain America game coming very soon, I believe. So they have the games, but it's with different studios, with different teams, different gameplay. So I don't think there is any connection there.
I mean, I can tell you that the odds of a poorly informed person in a well-fitting suit standing up in a meeting and presenting a plan for the Marvel gaming universe, that has 100% happened. There's no way that has not happened.
But the problem is that you cannot release a game every year or every 6 months like you release a movie. So if you would have disconnected universe coming from the same developer or the same publisher, it would take 50 years to get the equivalent of the 20 or so movies of the first.
I just Googled or searched for Black Panther game. I think this is a leak of the game. Or is this another game that we... So this is Black Panther War for Wakanda. Is it a new game or an old game? It says PS5.
I don't know.
It definitely looks new-ish, would be my guess.
Oh, wow. So they're using the same kind of like fighting system as Spider-Man and...
Yeah, still basically the Arkham Bones.
The Arkham Bones, thank you. Oh, Arkham, the good old days.
That guy, he's running. He's really going for it.
Yep.
It's an expansion of the Marvel Avenger game.
Oh, okay. So it's not. Okay.
Oh, that's what this is? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess we will put that rumor to rest. Moving over to the final item. One item on the numbers. Yeah. And it's only one game that matters today, which is Hazelight Studio Split Fiction has sold 2 million copies in its first week.
So I think at the moment we recorded last week, it was 1 million, and then when we published, it was 2 million on a Friday. So like, you just say 1 million. Yeah, but no, it's 2 million. Okay.
You love to see it.
It's going to be 5 million in a few weeks, probably. At the rate it's going.
Yeah. I know have you played it? You said you were going to play it, I think, with your son?
My kids have played it, yes, but they were not around last week.
Yeah.
It's full of... it's a bit like Ready Player One, somehow, with all the pop culture references, yes. No, it's good. And let's not forget that it's free for the second player. So there are a lot of friend pass on top of these 2 million paid.
Yep. That's the Joseph Fares DNA of allowing the second player to come for free, all the way from A Way Out. That was the first time I think they did it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's funny. I was thinking about that since last week, and really, it's the striking thing is not that it's selling well. It's good, selling well, it seems cool, but like it's that it's really incredible that it takes this kind of like indie auteur guy to be like, hey, people like playing games together. So many developers have just completely lost sight of stuff like this that it's remarkable how easy it is to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, could you argue that people are playing games together in other types of?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they are, but like
co-op.
Couch co-op counts. We like couch co-op, and just everyone but Nintendo and Fares forgot about it basically.
But here's then the mission, because I assume you can play Split Fiction online.
Yeah, of course.
So what would be interesting to see here, Dave, is the percentage of players playing the game online.
Yeah,
versus...
I would be very interested by that.
Probably 99% of PC players.
Yeah, but
online.
I think a lot of console players are probably playing it in a living room somewhere.
Yeah.
How are your kids playing?
In the living room.
Okay, so they're playing on the couch.
Yeah. There's no reason for them to be in two separate rooms because they play on PlayStation on a big screen and they can interact directly. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, let's see if we can dig up those numbers. Maybe we can call Joseph and ask him directly. That could be interesting to see.
But there is a just also again preview of the PC and console report that will come soon.
Yeah.
Last year there is a lot of players that basically played co-op games. So there might be something there in the sense that maybe I said that last time that the world has not been that fun in the last 5 years. And instead of looking for more conflict online, you want this cozy game experience, you want this cooperative game experience.
Mm-hmm.
Get a rest from what's happening outside of the game you are playing. So this might be a trend. This might be also generational. Maybe the Gen Z and the alphas are more into cooperation and cozy gaming than really pure PvP like we had with Call of Duty and with Battlefield for the Gen X. So it might be also a change of mindset in Western civilization. But that's just me making sociological guesses.
We love making sociological guesses. I
Yes.
think COVID changed the world in all these ways, and that led to a lot of people realizing you can get that feeling of comfort from games, and like the necessity for that feeling has not really slowed down. And even Fortnite has qualities that are a lot more like that than traditional Battlefield and Call of Duty, whatever.
Absolutely. And I think in Fortnite, let's not forget that, yes, it's ultimately a PvP game, but it's usually you play with friends. Yeah. So you play with friends against other humans, but the team element is way more important probably than a Call of Duty.
And you spend the majority of your time in a classic battle royale match not fighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really important part of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Discussing, thinking about strategy. So yeah, absolutely. The PvP part of a battle royale game is probably 10% of the playthrough. Yeah, which is nothing completely different from Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty is like 9%, like functionally 100, right? If you're not in combat, you are sprinting towards it, and then you are being unexpectedly thrust into it, and then you're dead.
And Battlefield is probably 80% because you spend 20% of your time between your respawn and where the action is happening.
Yeah.
Awesome. We are seeing a resurgence of the flower power generation, V2, without the drugs.
Without the drugs or like the sense of social justice and equity.
Virtual flowers.
Yeah.
Yes. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today and for your knowledge. For those listening in, we have reached the end of the show. Of course, as usual, go to guysweekly.substack.com for the newsletter. And then, of course, as we always mention, please do like, subscribe, do all these things that other people ask you to do. Pretend it's not me asking you, but I am asking you. And with that being said, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.